Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Monday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. Good to see you. It's little guy kind of day today. You know what I mean? For those of you who don't know who little guy is, little guy was my dog. Will always be my dog. Yeah, so anyway, I have a good one for you today. I have a deep one. I'm actually gonna go deep, and I'm gonna be very transparent because this question was such a deep question, and it hit me. You know what I mean? In a different way than most of you guys' questions. Somebody asked me the other day. Somebody asked me, "Hey, why do you keep doing your lives?" And what do you want out of life? You know, and man, that was a kind of a deep question, and it really made me think. You know, it made me really think, and as I'm talking about it, it makes me think. Right? It still makes me think, but I had to think about that, and I have the answer. And I was excited to share the answer, but so I'm going to share the answer with you. Maybe there's wisdom in it for you. Maybe there's something in it that resonates with you. Maybe you can relate. Um, so today is August the 8th, which means I am no, I'm 27 days away from my 50th, right? 50 is a big day, right? 50 years. That's like half a century. That's scary. But so I'm 27 days from my 50th, right? So why do I keep doing my lives, and what do I want out of life? Kind of cool questions. Well, let me share with you the lives first. I started doing lives January 1st, 2019 as just a challenge for myself, right? And I wanted to, I said to myself, I'm going to do a live for a year, and I'm going to challenge myself as somebody who stutters, especially in front of camera, right? So as a challenge for myself on January 1st, Ome John, what's up? How are you, my man? Good to see you. So as a challenge in 2019, January 1st, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go live for a whole year. And, especially with, like I said, especially with somebody who stutters and throws himself, in front of the camera and all that. It was, I look at some of my early lives, man, I've come a long way. So as a challenge, I decided to do that, right? And I ended up doing actually 369 lives that year. There was a couple days that I did 2 lives. So, which was interesting, right? Then I wanted to stop, and a bunch of you guys said, no, don't stop. This is fun. Keep going. So I ended up keep going. So I have been doing live since January 1st, 2019, nonstop every day. Just to add that up for you, that's 1,315 nights in a row. Okay? That's 1,319, 1,315 nights in a row that I've done a live. I haven't missed one. Crazy places, crazy times. Even in parking lots, and just insane, right? And so to this day, I have done 1,324 lives. Okay, that's 1,324 lives, and all different subjects. That's like over 1,300 different topics, right? If you ask me how I came up with those, I have no idea. It just comes up that day, right? Now, so to answer your question, why do I keep, this is a two-part question, right? Why do I keep doing my lives, and what do I want out of life? Which was, I thought it was just so awesome to ask those questions. I hadn't asked those questions, I don't think, from myself, which was kind of odd. I should have asked those questions for myself, right? So why do I keep doing my lives? At this point, I'm so used to going live every day. Like, I wouldn't know what to do if I don't go live. I would feel like it feels really strange. Money, can I have you join in another scheduled time? I'd love to bring you on, but I'd love to bring you on, but let's do it on a scheduled time. So why do I keep doing lives? So at this time, I don't know what to do if I don't do lives, right? Like, I want to do my lives. Now, the other reason why is, you know, and I found this out in a very unique way. As you're joining me live, let me know who's here, because I don't know who's here, who's not here. I'd love to know who is. So I found out a very unique way, okay? One of the reasons why I do my lives, and some of you are gonna like feel this is weird. Rosalba, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome. It's the first time you're joining me in my lives. I was just telling everybody that I've done, just to give you, and that's okay. I'd love to bring you on though, bro. But to this day, I've done 1,324 lives, and somebody asked me why I do my lives and why what I want from life. So I figured out the answer. I'm giving that tonight. So welcome. You're the first. It's your first time to my life, so I appreciate that. Very welcome. So here's one reason why I do. One of the reasons why I do my lives, and this may come as a shocker because this is my first reason. Are you ready for this? This is gonna sound really strange, but this is my first reason. And I felt, like I shared with you, I found this out the most unique way, okay? My first reason for doing lives is for people who don't watch me. I'm gonna repeat that. The first reason why I do my lives is for people who don't watch me. And I mean that in this regard. Those who don't watch me are actually watching me. And I didn't even know. I know you may think this is weird, but see, you're live with me. You're actually watching me. Like, we are, in communication. I see you. You see me. But there's people who watch me when I don't think they're watching me. Does this make sense? So there's people who are watching my lives and giving me a comment, do you hear that? And give me comments and chats 2 months, 3 months down the road. And these are people that come out of woodwork, and I have no idea who these people are, and I would have never guessed they actually watch my lives. And then I get this text message, or I get this chat that says, the other night you did this story, or the other night you shared your story, or the other night you did this, and it blew my mind. It really resonated with me. It really helped me do this. And I'd be thinking to myself, the first thing I'd be thinking to myself is like, wait, you actually watch my lives? You've never commented. You've never said anything. You've never even acknowledged any of my posts. But then out of the blue, you come out and you say, I watch your lives all the time. I can't wait for them. And the other night you did this and it impacted my life. And that's amazing. I have a setup at your, have a camera set up at your house. How did you find it? You know how I do, baby. James, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. Another first comer to my lives, welcome. So that's the first reason. I do it for the people who don't watch me, which is kind of weird. Because those who don't watch me, I think maybe should watch me, right? So the first reason why I do my lives is for people who don't watch me. So my gratitude goes out to you that you don't watch me, but you actually watch me. The second reason is, I have found so many good friends through my lives that I would have never found out before. Some of you I've actually met in person, and it's been great, and we're still friends. I have met some of my really good friends through my lives. I've met some amazing team members, customers, actually pretty much everybody from my team and customers have been through my lives, which is kind of weird, right? Now, I've got to know people through my lives a lot, right? So that's another reason I do them. It's just because, I like to meet people. I like to spread the word, right? Another reason is because, well, I may not, I'll say it this way. You guys know, many of you know that I stutter. So as a result of these lives, I was able to, now before this, I never knew anybody else who stuttered. I only knew two other people who stuttered. But because of these lives, my first year doing lives, I got to know, somebody watched my live. I've told this story before, but somebody watched my live. I did a starfish story, introduced me to somebody who owns a starfish organization who teaches breathing for people who stutter. Got to talk to him, found out that, I don't fit in with the organization. I'm just a little too advanced for that. Moved on to met somebody else, and that person is an author, speaker, boom, 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 right? England, we're talking England. And that person introduced me to Cookie, if you would. And Cookie is out here in California. And we started a Facebook group for people who stutter. It was just her and I, two people. And I don't take any credit for this, but she's taken it up to 5,400 people. Okay. And I go live in there every day. I share these lives in there every day for the last 2.5 years. Because the first year I didn't know them, right? And the people that are in there, most of them can't even speak a word. It's like how I was. Between the age of 13 to 24, I couldn't speak a word. I had to grasp for air. My chin, I've shared this story. This is not the place to share it. My chin would shake, but I got out of that, right? Now I'm here. So now I'm here. So people see me speak and know that I like to say used to stutter. I still stutter, like obviously I just stuttered. But when they see that, that's a little light bulb of hope for somebody in that situation. I want you to really get that, because you have a message in you. You can be a source of light bulb for somebody. You just have to find out how. No matter what it is, you can be a source of a light bulb for somebody. Okay? And I feel like that is what I have become for them. I'm not the only one that speaks well. I'm definitely not the most active in that group, but I've picked out some really good friends out of there. I have some friends that, I have this kid that I absolutely love and adore, and this guy is just a fighter, man. He can't speak one word, but he's just hustling, You can't put a price to that stuff. You can't say, oh, well, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do my lives. It's like, well, you know what? What about that kid? The message is bigger. Like I've shared this before. The message is bigger than the messenger. You're a nobody, I'm telling you. but your message makes you somebody. You're nobody without your message. Who would you be? Just a regular guy or gal, right? The message is bigger than the messenger. You're really just like whatever. It's what you say. It's what it's the message, right? So that's. I mean, I could give you more reasons why I do my lives, but those are probably the three. I do them for the people who don't watch them, and I appreciate you guys. You know, I and I think that a lot of you guys have, I get a lot of feedback. Some of you are really shy. You don't comment on the lives, but which you got to break out of that shell. I did. You know, I still get nervous every time I go live. And that's 1,324 lives. Okay. This is my 1,324th or 25th live tonight, right? And I still get nervous, which is weird, right? I get less, I mean, it's a lot less. But if I know, I sometimes pick a subject that I know I'm gonna have a difficult time with a lot of words in it. So I deliberately sometimes pick subjects that I know I'm gonna stutter a lot. And some of you have seen me, I take breaks right in the live. I say, you know what, I gotta calm my mind. And I have to do that, you know? And so what I'm sharing with you is non-filtered. This is me. I mean, some of you know me and you know this is me. Like, you know, this is how I live my life. These are my principles. These are my values. I don't share stuff on my lives that I don't believe in. Some of the stuff I believe in, you guys don't like. I've been blocked. Listen, I've been blocked, cussed out so many times. I had a lady, two ladies, come on while I was doing a live and cussing me out because I remember one particularly because I was talking about it was a Sunday and I was talking about a church story. I was talking about Christ and this preacher story, and she would just live it. Oh well, whatever. I block her too. You know, the message is bigger than the messenger. Remember that. It's not about you. You don't. Who cares about you? Nobody cares about you. They all talk about what you've done, what you've said, all that stuff, right? So that's the message. I feel like I'm just being very transparent. Some of you really love the stuff that I talk about. You're in line with my principles. Sometimes you're not in line with my principles, but sometimes you see it, you're like, you know what, that's a really good thought. I'm gonna adjust. And that's why I do them. That's why I do them. And I'm gonna give you the other answer, the part two of this question, if you would, which is really profound. What do I want out of life? And I thought that was just such a big question. So you got the reason why I do my lives and how I became, you know, how I started doing these lives and why we're here now, right? And, you know, there was a period of time, I got to tell you this, there was a period of time that I was doing my lives and probably good over a year, maybe close to a year and a half. And I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but I wasn't intentional. Can I tell you that? This is so transparent, you guys. I wasn't intentional with my messages. I just wanted to do the live to say, well, I've been doing the lives, right? Now, that doesn't mean the message I gave was crap. That was not okay. That's not what I said. I just said I wasn't intentional. I was not delivering the message with intentions. You feel me? And sometimes we go through life that way. Sometimes we do things just to get them done, but there's no there's no intention behind it, right? There's no purpose behind it. We just go through this routine and we just get it done, right? Just because we gotta. Sometimes we go through work that way. You know, just going through work and just, right? So it becomes a routine. And there's no intention, there's no purpose, there's no oomph to it, you know? It just like, it feels deflated, right? So I had to recognize that, and I had to find that again in me. And you guys have seen the I mean, you've seen me throughout the year. There was a time that I shaved my head for a whole year, and most of the time, 99% of the time, I wore a baseball cap for a whole year. You know, I've done some crazy stuff within these lives. I've shared some really, really like deep personal stories that I've never shared before. So, and that is the reason why I do them, because somebody out there wants to hear them and take something out of them, got to take away from them. You know what I mean? So that's that. The second part, what do I want out of life? You know, sometimes you see people in life and you're like, wow, that's a good life. I like that life. I like the way that guy lives, what he drives, what he, you know, just what he's about, his principles, his values, his character. Like, I like that. That's a good role model to have. And then you get in and you're like, no, that's really the case. The person is actually really a decent person, and there's a lot of good. And you really now, it's not just on the outside, it's not just superficial, it's for real. So now you're like even more attracted to that kind of a role model or lifestyle, or that person even, right? You're like, oh man, I love that. I love that lifestyle. That is, I like. I like, you know. Hey, are you guys sleep, awake? Throw me some hearts, love. Who's here, who's not here? I'm getting deep on this one. Hopefully you guys staying awake with me. But you see that person, right? And you're like, this is what I want out of life. You know, you see those stickers that says, you know, I want somebody to look at my life I want somebody to say, I am a better person because of that person, right? Something like that. I think I probably ruined that sticker. Maybe I shouldn't create these stickers. But you get the picture, right? So my goal in life, what I want out of life is this. I'm 27 days shy of 50. In 50 years, and this is I have a big life plan for my 50th. But in 50 years, I have lived a life of examples. What I mean by that is, you can look at my 50 years and you say, damn, that's been rough. Man, that's been, oof. You know, I've been through divorce, I've had 7 surgeries, cancer, I've had bankruptcies, foreclosures, repos, I've had all kinds of stuff, right? Hey Sharon, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Hopefully you catch the beginning too, because this is a really deep life. So 27 days shy of 50, right? Yeah, thanks for maybe with all the filters. But I've lived a life of examples. What I mean by that is that I've lived a life of stories. I've lived a life of where I can tell people, listen, I've had 7 surgeries. Listen, I've beat cancer. Listen, I've had bankruptcy. I've had a foreclosure. I've had a repo. I've had a judgment. I've had a divorce. Should I keep on? I've literally been homeless a couple times. Not a couple times, but one big times, you know. I've literally lost everything. Like, I could give those examples for the first 50 years of my life. All those stories. I have those stories and much more. So 50 years, the first 50 years of my life have just been piling up stories, piling up wins, piling up beatdowns and triumphs, piling up failure and overcoming it, piling up diseases, beating the crap out of them, piling up relationship issues up the yin-yang, piling up shredded hearts. I'm here. I've been piling up a whole heck of a lot of stories for 50 freaking years. A lot of stories. Stories that when I tell some of my friends and some of the people that don't know me, I tell that story, they literally just sit there and look at me. Like, what are you talking about? Did that really happen? I have been spending 50 years of my life piling up stories. Now, if you're familiar with my lives, then you know what I'm about to say. If you're not, you're about to learn what I'm about to say. I am a big believer that stories are not supposed to be stored. They're supposed to be shared. I can have a room full of files of stories. What good is that going to do? Nobody's going to read one of them. So what's the point of having these stories? Can somebody tell me what's the point of going through all this stuff? Anybody? If it's not to tell somebody else, if it's not to use those to inspire other people, then why in the freaking world would you go through all that crap? For fun of it? I mean, I know the good Lord's got a sense of humor, but this ain't so funny. It's not funny. Why would you go through all that crap? I'm working on it, baby. I'm working on actually a book right now as we speak. You're going to like the book. You're going to really like the book. But I'm working on the book as we speak. But it's the truth. Like, it's, why the hell would you go through all this stuff? Like, let's say, for example, you went through a crappy breakup, right? You go through a crappy time, like, all right? And then, I don't know, you have a kid of your own. And one day, that kid goes through a breakup of their own. Wouldn't you sit there and tell them about your story? Or would you just sit there and watch the walls? Think about it. Would you just turn on the channel and just flip the channels? Or would you say, hey, son, come here. Let me tell you a little story about your dad. Dude, you're going to tell the story. Why? Because you want to tell that person, hey, listen, I went through that crap. You're going to go through that crap, and there's a way out. Here's a little light bulb of hope. Now, that's my story. If you got stories that you're sitting on, that's you. Nobody's going to get inspired. Nobody's going to change their life because of the stories you never shared. Stories are meant to be shared, not stored. I am a firm believer in that. And that's kind of what leads me to the answer to the question, what do you want out of life? Two things. One of them, I know what you're going to say about the second one. I don't care. You can judge if you want to. My first goal is what do I want out of life? I want somebody to look at my life and say, damn, if that guy did it, I can get through it. I can do it. Honestly, that's really what I want. I want somebody to look at me and say, you know what, this guy used to stutter and couldn't even speak a word, but look at him now. There's a hope for me. I've shared my stuttering story in a whole other life, but I'm not going to go there. And that was a turning point in my life when I realized that, you know, that's not what I want. I don't want a life of stuttering the rest of my life. But that's a whole other life. But those are my stories. I mean, that's what I want out of life. I don't want to go another 50 years collecting stories and then at my deathbed telling some stranger, oh yeah, you know, I lived once, you know, like what the, like seriously, like what the, I don't even know what to say to that. Why would you hold on to your stories? All these stories, why would you sit on them? Why would you not tell that story? You watch movies that are made from stories and you brag about them, you love them. We all love look, this guy right here. We all love stories, right? This is the longest live in the planet Earth, I think. I don't know how long I've gone. I think half hour. But that's the first thing I want. I want some of my stories to change some people's lives. And as a result of that, this is what I kind of wanted, but this is not the second thing. But I want, I don't think I've ever shared this before on the live. Maybe a couple of people know this about me, but yeah, I don't think I've ever shared this before. But I want 1,000 strangers at my funeral. That's what I want. I want 1,000 people that I've never shook hands with at my funeral. That's one thing I want. And that would be fun. I won't be there to entertain, which is kind of cool, because somebody else got to do the cleaning. But but that's one of the things I want. I want 1,000 strangers at my funeral. And the second thing I want, I told you can judge, but I never want to look at a price tag. Never. The English have a saying. They say, if you ask how much, you can't afford it. I never want to ask how much. I want to be able to reach in my pocket and know that I live an abundant life and I can have whatever I want at any price. Truthfully, that's what I want. And I'm not afraid of all the things that comes along with that. All the price I gotta pay, all the hate that I gotta take, I'm not afraid of all that. You gotta be willing to take that. See, you can't say, well, I want that, but I don't want none of that. Well, you can't do that. It's like, what the? No. Then you really don't want that, you know. But I want that. I've taken that thing on. I'm okay with it. I want 1,000 strangers at my funeral. Be great. Bring your own food. Just kidding. 1,000 strangers that I've never, ever met, talked to, know their names, nothing. 1,000 complete strangers showing up to my funeral. You know, Jim Rohn had a funeral, And I never forget it, in Anaheim. And they had to rent a stadium, and it was sold out. Can you believe that? Can you believe renting a stadium for your funeral and get sold out? Imagine the impact you have had on lives. That so many people come to your funeral to celebrate the life you lived. Unbelievable. Now that's, hey Stacy, how are you? Welcome, welcome, good to see you. So that's like, to me, that's the ultimate high. That's, to me, that would be the ultimate high. To have strangers come to your funeral because you changed their lives. Because let's just be frankful, and this is statistics, okay? Friends and family, they'll show up to your funeral depending on the rain. No kidding. If it rains, I think the ratio is like 70% won't come. That's crazy, right? If it just rains. So I think that's like the ultimate high. To have even one person at your funeral that everybody says, who's that? And this guy says, oh, this guy changed my life. It's like, what? How amazing would that be? Now imagine if there were like 2 of those people, and then like 3 of those people that you changed lives. I'm not talking about your friends and family, people around. I'm talking about people you don't know. It's because of the way you live your life, the way you honor your principles, your values. Not because they know you. I think that's the ultimate high. I think that's like according to the movie Jerry Maguire, if you would, it's the Quan. You know, it's everything. It's the Quan, right? So that's my answer. Why do I keep doing my lives, and what do I want out of life? Why do I keep I shrink it for you. Why do I keep doing my lives? I do it because of the people who don't watch me. Go back and see what I mean by that. 2 is because I don't know what else to do. If I don't do a live, I feel like I'm missing something that day. I gotta share a message with the world, I feel like, you know? And 3 is, you know, I got people who stutter. They got their eyes on me, and I got to show up every day. That's the whole point. That's always been my thing. Hashtag show up every day, every day. My 3 rules on my board: show up, learn, move the needle. Those are your 3 ways to success. You show up, you learn something new every day, and you move the needle, which means you do something productive for your business. Okay? Those are my things. So it's always been show up. If I don't show up, what am I going to do? What kind of a message would I give to the world? It's like, oh, all of a sudden you stopped showing up? Not a very good, powerful one, right? If you're going to change a few lives. Nobody's going to show up to my funeral that way. So I got to show up big. Right? What do I want? What do I want out of life? Like I said, 50 years I spent collecting stories. Now it's time to share those stories, to inspire, to move people, to tell people, hey, listen, there's a light bulb of hope waiting for you. Look at me. I went through it. I made it. Right? I'm not gonna sit on my stories. Stories are meant to be shared, not stored. Second thing, I want 1,000 strangers at my funeral. You know, 1,000 people can walk around and people say, who are you? And they'll be like, that guy changed my life for better. And I never want to look at a price tag. And I'm going to close with this, the price tag, because that's important. Because people think, oh, that's greedy. Well, that's just, well, okay. You know, if you feel like it's greedy, then you're never going to be wealthy. You can't have what you despise. You can't become what you despise. You can't hate a wealthy man and say, oh, well, I want to be wealthy. Well, how are you going to be wealthy if you hate him? Okay, 1. 2, if you feel like that's, you know, greedy and stuff, well, you don't really understand money. I'm calling it out. I told you I'm going to close with that. This is a deep live anyway, so it's much longer than I thought anyway. But you don't understand it, because what money is, okay, money is the response you get for answering a question or solving a problem. It's the response you get for answering a question or solving a problem. How do you think people get rich? Go rob a bank? They just solve more problems. They just sell more stuff that solves the same problem for much more people. That's what it is. So if you think that not ever having to look at a price tag is oh, it's just greedy, well, then you're gonna play small. You're not gonna change a whole lot of lives, because you don't get the formula. The formula is you change a whole lot of lives, you get paid a whole lot. You don't change lives, you don't get paid. So go change lives. Don't sit on your stories. What are you doing? Somebody out there needs to hear your freaking story. Somebody out there needs to hear my story. What am I doing? Sitting on my stories for 50 years. I don't want to be 100 and say, I've been sitting on my stories for 100 years. I don't have any kids, so I'm not going to have any grandkids that I can tell stories to. Who the hell am I going to tell my story to? If you believe living an abundant life, not ever having any more money issues is wrong, is judgmental, is this, is that, well, you don't get it. And you won't get it. And that's just the way it is, unless you change your mindset about money. Money is just the response you're getting for solving people's problems. And if you don't feel that way, then I'm really sorry. You're always going to struggle. I welcome that life. I welcome the abundant life. I want that out of my life. That was the question. What do you want out of life? That's what I want. Everything. Everything I can get. Without breaking my morals, principles, values, stepping over people's feet, you know. And I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. It's not like I'm a saint. I'm not a perfect human. But I try. I catch myself at times. I do the best I can. But I don't deny or push back on abundance, on opportunities, on success, on hard work. I don't push that back and say, oh, no, well, listen, I don't want no opportunity. I don't want to change no lives. I don't want to impact nobody's life. I don't want to make any money. I'm good. I don't want to say that. You would never catch me say that. It's like, what the? No. Thought of the day. This is the longest live ever, I think. I appreciate for you guys who are staying on and actually heard the message to the end. I really do. For those of you who don't ever watch me live, but you watch my replays. Special love for you guys. Remember, I said that you guys are the first people that I do the lives for. And you guys come out of woodwork. And this is the thing, I got to leave you with this. Some of you that watch my replays, you've watched them for like months. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, this live. And you're like, and I ask you, you watch my lives? You're like, oh yeah, all the time. Like, what? Which is amazing. Okay, so much love for that. My thought of the day is this. Listen, we all got stories. You got stories. I got stories. And the funny thing is, you find grandkids and you find people that you don't know, and you're dying to tell your story to. Aren't you? Well, then tell it to people that matter, that want to hear your story. Don't waste your story. And learn how to tell it so that it's inspiring, it's flavorful. It's not like, oh, I had cancer, I beat it, now I'm good. It's like, where's the love and the word? There's no emotion. Learn how to tell your story so that people like are in, right? Because that's the impact. If you just tell it like, why do you think Lifetime movies are successful? Because they're brilliant at telling the story. They build it up, they tell the story. That's how you inspire. Learn to tell your story. Don't sit on your stories, por favor, please. Stories are not meant to be stored. Remember that from me. They're meant to be shared, right? I appreciate that, Sharon. Thank you, thank you. Hopefully you catch the beginning too, right? And hey, man, I've always said this world is like an orange. You get to squeeze it, and squeeze as much as you can. Get that last drop, you know, and that's what I'm going for. Heck yeah, why not? You know, so hopefully you guys got some love. Maybe the answers in this live resonated with you. Hopefully they made you think a little bit, a lot. Maybe they kind of move and shook you up a little bit. And hey, if you got a story to tell, you can tell it to me if you want. You know, I love stories. So if you're shy about that, you wanna tell your story, you wanna share a couple thoughts with me, you can drop it in the chat. You can text me. My phone number is on my profile, so it's nothing secret. But yeah, definitely don't sit on your stories and go big, man. Go play big. And you know, I had to learn that. I had to tell that to myself. There was a time in my life that I really played big, and I was actually I was thinking about that yesterday. There was a time in my life that I really played big. I mean, big, big, big. And I made a lot of money. And I think one of the reasons is because I got hit so hard and I lost everything. I kind of lost that hunger for hustle. Wow. Yeah. So I didn't have that hunger anymore for hustle because I felt like it just, you know, it just got shattered. I think that's what I felt. Wow, this is kind of a deep life, people. And so I had to kind of find that out again. And the way you find that out is you go back to what you want out of life. How am I going to have 1,000 strangers at my funeral if I don't do crap? At least I gotta impact a few lives, you know, for it to turn out to be 1,000. How am I gonna do that, right? Definitely doesn't happen by me sitting on my stories and just kumbaya, oh Lord. You know, you hear me say that a lot. But yeah, kumbaya, oh Lord, doesn't work all the time. Most of the time. None of the times, you know. So again, hopefully you guys got some, man, I think I spoke for close to an hour. Hopefully you guys got some love out of this. I appreciate that. I am gonna tomorrow. I'm not. I don't know yet, but tomorrow, I I've never talked about what I want to talk about the next day. I don't think I've ever said that, but I've been thinking about this actually. Sharon actually said that too. Um, Somebody asked me, "What do you want out of a relationship?" Okay, and that was a question I really had to think about. I actually did not know the answer to that question, honestly. And I had to think about that question. Now, I'll give you one more thing. Now, I have what do you want out of a relationship is very different than what I do know about a relationship. And I have, I haven't talked about this before, but I have my 3 C's to a successful relationship. I gotta have these 3 C's, otherwise it's just a deal breaker for me anyway. But what do I want out of that relationship? I had to figure out 3 other things. So in the next couple of days, I may go totally in a different route. I may take it to the love department and share those thoughts with me, because I feel like it's not just about the relationship. When I touch on them, it's not just about the relationship, and it's not just about the love or anything like that. But there's a lot more to it, and I feel like I think you may get some love out of it. So I haven't decided yet. I might go with what I want out of a relationship tomorrow. The 3 things, and maybe the next day I do the 3 C's. If you want to see those, if that's something that I don't know, you guys want to see my love. I guess I guess my principles or what have you. Um, Drop it in the comments below. Let me know you want to hear that stuff. So I will talk. You guys know I love to talk. So especially tonight, man, I really let it out tonight. So I hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration. Like I said, just go big and don't sit on your stories. Yes, Sharon says, I know you want me to. Maybe I do that tomorrow. I think it'll be fun actually. Because I really had to think about it. Like some of the questions you guys ask me, if I don't know the answer quickly, like I don't have it already figured out, I actually sit there and really think about that. Like this question tonight, it was like one of those that it was like, I really had to think about that. And I really like that, why do you still do your lives? Or what do you want out of life? It's like, yeah, you run those. I mean, what do you want out of life? You get that often, but you really don't sit there and really think about. So, yeah, this 3 things out of a relationship. So maybe it's for you, maybe it's not for you. So, again, hopefully you guys got some love. So tomorrow, tune in. I may do that, and I got some. I know Thursdays with Sean has been on pause for a whole month, but I have an amazing, amazing lineup of 3 guests for the next 3 weeks that you don't want to miss their stories. Stories, you don't want to miss their stories. You don't want to miss their stories. So, of course, I'm going to promote those. But yeah, hopefully you guys got some love. I didn't bore you to sleep. Wake up. It's time to end this live. Just kidding. Hopefully you guys appreciated it. And hey, drop your thoughts, your comments below. I am looking forward to those. And I appreciate you guys. And until tomorrow, when we do it all over again. Much love.